Today, we're exploring the layers of consciousness. And we like to think of this as asking, who is driving the creation bus of your life?
Just the tip of the iceberg, because beneath the surface, just like an iceberg, there's an enormous depth, and it's multi-layered, and it's rather like a diamond of light. It's simple, very surface level awareness, and it's so useful to orient you in the moment, but it's only one layer. It's not the whole driver of your life.
What are you acting on? Are your actions reinforcing these unconscious beliefs of negativity and scarcity? Or are you aligning with your superconscious truth and looking at beauty and looking at empowerment?
Welcome back to the Healing You Method podcast. I'm Gloria Lybecker, and I am joined by my dear friend and co-host, Gail Donohue.
Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be with you. Today, we're exploring the layers of consciousness. And we like to think of this as asking, who is driving the creation bus of your life?
Yeah. Well, because we experience in our waking mind, that is just the tip of the iceberg. Because beneath the surface, just like an iceberg, there's an enormous depth, and it's multi-layered, and it's rather like a diamond of light. When we actually begin to understand the self-conscious, the unconscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious, and see what each one of them, what they're drivers for, we can then really see so much more clearly how our reality is even created and really where our true power lies.
Let's start with the self-conscious. Now, this is your waking mind. This is the part of you that is here with us now, listening. It takes in the noises around you. It tracks your day, and it navigates all the different moving parts of your life.
Yeah, it's simple, very surface level awareness. And it's so useful to orient you in the moment, but it's only one layer. It's not the whole driver of your life. So I know that for myself, noticing a pattern of that, one is being driving. When I'm driving, my waking conscious doesn't always pay attention. Maybe I start to daydream about something and I start just driving automatically somewhere. So that's
Mm.
really my unconscious, my already pre-programmed self that's just thinks it's knowing where it's going and it's not paying attention at all. And so when I can notice that, hopefully before I get somewhere that I don't want to go, I can then shift my gears literally and I can go, oh, nope, this is where I'm choosing to go today. And so that's just a very simple example, but it's a really helpful one. How aware am I? Am I being aware or am I on autopilot?
Right, right. And then next we have the unconscious. And this is where your ego lives.
Mm,
It is the storage pot of beliefs and the framework, that gives you a sense of identity.
it does. It really does. And the unconscious, it expresses itself to us through our thoughts and our feelings. And they can be so loud and convincing, even overwhelming. I mean, I know for myself, I have some really crummy thoughts and feelings that come up. And that it creates these perceptions of life, and it's filtered then through all of these belief systems that we have about who we think we are, what we think we can or we can't have, and who others are in the world, and even what the world is like. It's just a whole conglomerate from these belief systems.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the real kicker. The unconscious is designed for consistency.
Yep.
And so from a very young age, it orients you to keep you safe by repeating what's familiar.
Mhm.
But the other aspect that it's driven by is a sense of incompleteness. So it's always trying to fix what it believes is missing.
Yep. And truly, it is a cosmic paradox because we actually are intrinsically powerful creators. And yet, through that unconscious mind, we experience that we're separate and that we have all these limitations upon us.
Yeah. I mean, and Gloria, I have a story that I can share with you about this. For me, with that constant, what was familiar, and then also still striving, like incompleteness,
Mhm.
was, as a young person, I learned a lot of orientation about that I needed to prove myself, that
Yeah.
I wasn't good enough just the way I was. So that led to a lot of striving.
Mm.
A lot of striving academically. I had to be in the top of the class. Um, and then a lot of striving for myself as growing up in the athletic world with being, one of the best.
Yeah.
I had to be one of the top athletes. And so I did. Trained hard and well, and to the point where, I made choices, and I would say some of them unconsciously, about what I did and didn't do in order to keep striving to prove myself. And
Mhm.
that unconscious belief has continued, where I am now seeing that pattern that pops up where
Mhm.
I need to prove myself with, if something exciting or celebration is happening with other people that I know, I go, oh, that's great. And then, oh, what do I need to do now? I need to step it up. I need to I need to be doing it the way that they are. I need to be doing it as much as they are.
Mhm.
But luckily, with doing this work and being conscious of the choices and looking at who is driving this bus, I've been able to sit back and go, oh, okay, I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to
Mhm.
keep on proving myself, and I can celebrate what they're doing and to see joy and happiness with what they're doing, and I can choose to do something else. It is an edge still, but I'm still working on it. So
Yeah.
I would like to invite our listeners at this time. What thoughts or emotions keep on looping for you? And could this be your unconscious reflecting an old belief rather than what is true, what is really true for you? And let's now move into the light, the
Mhm.
superconscious. The superconscious is our higher self. It is your connection to all that is across time and space. Your superconscious is your genius mind, your Christ consciousness, your limitless potential. You might have some other words that you would enjoy using to describe it, but hopefully
Mhm.
this gives you an idea of what our superconscious light is.
Yeah. And so while the unconscious really holds you in a sense of separation and lack, the superconscious holds you in a sense of wholeness. And it speaks to us through our intuition, through our imagination. That's a really key one. There's synchronicities and it really brings out a deep sense of truth. And for me, I love the phrase, the truth sets you free. So when you really can sense into that truth, you are free. You really are.
Yeah. And this is again a bit of the kicker because it doesn't come through logic.
No.
It often feels like a whisper,
Mhm.
a quiet knowing, or a nudge that feels that like it feels and it seems illogical, but it has a sense of lightness and expansion with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really pretty beautiful. I remember when I was really excited about learning about language and about communication and I was very fascinated with nonviolent communication particularly. And I had found Susan Sky, who was in the Portland area, and she was leading a leadership group for a year. So it was going to be quite an intensive program. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I'm I'm going to see if I could get to do it. So I finally was able to get a hold of her on the phone and do an interview so she could see whether I would be a good candidate to do this program. And at the time, I was taking care of my son at home and I wasn't bringing in a lot of resources or anything like that. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford to do it because she said, well, you sound like you'd be a good candidate, but how are you going to pay for it? And it was quite a bit of money to pay for it. And the mom thought, well, I'm doing this thing. I just know I'm doing this thing. This is it. And I says, well, I just fully trust that the resources will make themselves known. And she said, what was that? How did you say that again? And I said, I fully trust that the resources will make themselves known. She goes, oh, well, I like that. She goes, well, I'll hold your spot for a week and you know how that goes. Well, at the time, I was a counselor and I was working with an adult that had brought his two parents and was wanting to do some deep repair work with them. And I'd been working with them for some time. And so it was a week to the day. I got a thank you card in the mail, and they had sent the exact sum of money that I needed. And I recognized it as soon as it came. It was like, oh, they made themselves known. This is amazing. And so I did get to do the program. But that was just, it blew me away. I'll never forget that. And it was such a gift to really just follow my heart with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so great. That's wonderful.
So
So,
I'd like to just invite people to just pause and even notice. Have you ever felt nudges that seemed like irrational because my husband thought that was pretty irrational, but it led to a possibility for me. So, because I want you to really notice those nudges, just take a moment to be with them and come into your heart, because that's often your superconscious that's talking. And all of these from the different layers, it feeds into your subconscious. And this is the layer that I find to be the absolutely most fascinating because this is the creator self. This is like fertile soil. And it doesn't judge, it just simply says yes to whichever seeds you plant in it. So, whichever of these different layers has the most energy, that's what it will create more of.
yeah, yeah, that's a great story. Thanks for sharing that, Gloria. And so, if you're feeding your subconscious fear, or shame, or unworthiness, it grows more of that. If you're feeding it, truth and love and empowered action, it grows that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because the subconscious is neutral. It doesn't come already primed. It will develop more of what you provide. So if you provide it with the fear, shame, or unworthiness, that's the soil that's going to grow the weeds there. But if you give it the soil of love and truth, it will grow more fruit trees with empowered action. Both are equal for the soil of the subconscious to be growing.
Mm-hmm. Well, the key truly is um, that your subconscious is going to create more of what you take action on. So we all are going to fall into those crummy thoughts and feelings, but don't act from there. It's not what you think and it's not what you feel or what you hope for. It's what actually is created is by where you place your action. and really notice what am I actually doing or not doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that brings me to mind story about what happened for me when I was younger. And there was now I can see now that it was my subconscious acting from fear and anger, with feeling left out and feeling like I didn't belong. And I saw, my siblings together with my mom, and they were talking and having a good time. And, you know, I was behind a little bit, but there was no sort of glances to see me or to notice me. And my fear of not belonging and not being seen, and then my anger of not belonging and being seen started to come up more. And my action was then to walk away and go and hide and be upset that nobody sees me. And
Oh,
that I'm alone. Well, I just created more of that with the fear and the anger of being frustrated and annoyed and looking at all that they were doing to ignore me instead of acting from love and seeing that, oh, they were busy in their conversation. There was nothing intentional there that was happening. And I just needed to go back in and join them and start a conversation and being part of the group in talking. So
mm,
it's a very poignant, strong story for me with seeing how my,
oh,
my thinking and where I put my focus created my action, which just gave me more of
mhm.
feeling alone.
Yeah.
So for you, our dear listeners, um, we ask that if you're willing, you would enjoy it, to notice this week, what are you acting on? Are your actions reinforcing these unconscious beliefs of negativity and scarcity? Or are you aligning with your superconscious truth and looking at beauty and looking at empowerment? And this brings us back to the two trees, which you've heard us talk about before, especially Gloria. And when life feels heavy and stuck, it's often because your subconscious is acting on the unconscious beliefs or lack, limitation. But
Mhm.
when life is flowing, let you take it away here, Gloria.
Yeah, when the synchronicities appear and things start really dovetailing and coming together, then you can trust that your subconscious is being fed by your superconscious and you're empowered. You're creating with empowerment.
Every word, every word and every action is a seed for
Mhm.
our subconscious. So, on our superconscious. So, which tree are you feeding? Are you in feeding dispowerment or are you feeding empowerment?
Yeah, and a simple practice that I invite you into is to pause and notice. Really pay attention. Bring your awareness up. What layer is driving me right now? And if it is the unconscious, then ask, oh, what belief is underneath this thought or emotion? You want to peek underneath that. You want to see it clearly. And if it's the superconscious, then you ask, what's the truth I love? And what's one action I can take to honor that? Hmm.
Every choice is planting seeds in your subconscious. When we have awareness plus action, the two together, then we can create our path with creativity.
Yeah.
And that leads us wonderfully into our next episode, The Intuitive Woman, Reclaiming Your Inner Compass.
I love that. Yeah, we're going to get to explore. how to unhook from that societal conditioning, and how to return to that embodied knowing. What blocks our access to intuition, and how can we rebuild the bridge of self-trust and body love? So until next time, may you honor the depth beneath the surface and choose to feed the tree of empowerment.
Oh, and may the diamond of your consciousness keep reflecting the truth of your wholeness.